Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. It's C4 Zombie Slayer, and today we're gonna be kind of going over the new weapons. And so yeah, let's go ahead and kind of check out over here inside the anvil. You'll see some of the new weapons I've made. I think I went over some of them in a previous video, but I'll kind of go over them again, and I'll also kind of explain kind of how the weapon system works. So let's go ahead and start with the copper sword. So basically each weapon has its own abilities. So let's say I equip my tier 1 copper sword. You can see it's just a normal sword. There's no abilities connected to it or anything. And that actually comes with the newer tiers. So let's say I show this the tier 3 weapon. You can see it has two abilities. These are the ability descriptions, kind of what they do. And you can see the tier 1 doesn't have any. And basically how it works is you can upgrade from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3. And then each tier gains a new ability, and it starts with no abilities. And so let's go ahead and equip the tier 3. And let's go ahead and use ability 1. So right now I'm at full health, so it's not going to really do anything, because the ability is that when I take damage, I will basically heal my health when I use the ability. So now that I'm kind of low health, let's go ahead and I guess we can also kill this guy as well. Or actually, maybe I'll keep him for the second ability as well. So I'm going to use the ability 1, and watch my health. Boom, you can see I healed. It used some of my mana to heal me, basically. And now if I come back to him, I can use the other ability now, which was the dash, where if I... Oh, he's running away now. He's running away now. No. There we go. Let's press the ability. Boom. So yeah, you can see like basically it just launches me, and it does a little bit of damage to enemies. That's basically it for the copper sword. There's not too much else to it. But let's get into the next tier. So that would be the iron sword. So as you can see, the iron sword. We can actually read this description as well. So it starts, the first ability is it creates a shield which provides defense. So let's use that ability. Boom. And so you can see the shield that kind of follows me around. You don't have to have your weapon equipped for the ability to work as well. You can use abilities without your weapon equipped. But yeah, basically, if I took more damage from like enemies, it would do less damage. And if I were to use my other ability, which is this, and I don't have to have my weapon equipped, of course. Basically, you can see none of the raindrops are hitting the enemy, but this is like a more of an AOE attack where you use it for like large groups of enemies. Like for a single enemy, if it's a small enemy, it's never really gonna hit, you can see. But like for large enemies or groups of enemies, this might be a stronger ability. And so yeah. And as usual, of course, you can dual wield. So if you really wanted to, you could have the abilities of your copper sword along with your iron sword. So like let's say I want my... And actually I'm gonna come back to this. So right here, this is my fountain. It just regenerates my mana, so I can use my abilities pretty fast. There we go. And once I'm at 100, alright. So I can kind of show you. So I have my two swords. If I want my shield, I can press this button, or wrong ability. But you can see I can like combine different abilities. And then if I use this, boom, I can blast. Well, that wasn't much of a good use of the ability, but you can see you can like use different types of abilities. You can see my shield is consuming mana, and if I use the ability again, the shield goes away, and then the mana consumption goes away as well. So yeah, that's the iron sword. Let's go ahead and go to the steel sword. So another thing that with the tiers of the weapons is that if I come to the forge, I guess, you can see that the steel sword, it starts as a sword. And then it goes to a sword at tier 2 as well, but at tier 3 it turns into a great sword. So basically how this game is going to work is at the third tier is when it can transform from a sword to something else. Of course it could just stay as a sword, like you can see with the copper sword, it turns from tier 1 copper sword to tier 2 copper sword to tier 3 copper sword. But like for other weapons such as like let's say the platinum sword, it could start from tier 1 platinum sword to tier 2 platinum sword to tier 3 platinum rapier. So the third tier is kind of where it changes things, and it changes like some of like the functionality as well, which I'll kind of go over with this sword. So you can see it's a welded, I don't know, item. So you can't equip a second item. So I can kind of show you, I can't equip a second item. But let's go ahead and use the first ability. So the first ability is just, it basically does a little bit more damage, and it just makes your sword glow, kind of cool. And so yeah, we can test it on an enemy. You won't really be able to see a difference because I mean, yeah, in the end, it's still a pretty weak ability. I do want to make note, of course, that nothing's balanced, so it's kind of just I threw numbers in, and so I'm gonna have to fix a lot of this stuff. You can also see this is basically just a little test environment. I would say the real game probably won't look like this, but this is just like a test environment where I just want to throw stuff together so that I can test things in a scenario where it might be kind of similar to the game. And the other ability, I can actually test it on this guy as well. If I press the other ability button, boom, you can see it throws out 3 shurikens. And it does do damage. It just didn't do that much damage because it's not super balanced, so it doesn't do super a bunch of damage to the hogs. But one thing you might have also noticed is that the blades, they kind of went through the ground. Or they did not go through the ground, I mean. So like, if you use the ability like into the mountain, it's not going to go straight into the mountain. It's actually going to hover over the mountain and around it. So if I were to use it right here, you'll notice it doesn't go into the mountain. It kind of hovers around and above the mountain. So I made sure to do that so that you don't accidentally like waste an ability on like a mountain or something, and it just goes straight into the world and it's never to be seen again, basically. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that sort of thing. And yeah, that's the steel sword. Let's go ahead and get into the, I think, silver sword. Yeah, silver sword. So the same with the silver, the steel blade. It turns into a dagger on the 3rd tier, basically. So it starts as a sword, and then turns into this dagger. And let's go into the description. Basically, the first one is actually a passive where basically just enemies give more XP. It's a pretty simple boost. And the 2nd tier is it just shoots a big slash, and I can kind of show what that does. So I could just go ahead and press the ability button. And you can see it just shoots this little thing. And same thing with the steel sword. The slash hovers over the ground instead of just going into the mountain, basically. So you don't have to worry about that either. Let's go ahead and go into the gold sword though. So the gold sword, similar to the silver sword, it has a passive instead of like a ability, and it's just gives more points. Enemies give more points when they die. That's basically money in the game. And the 2nd ability is just increases the hitbox and the damage. So if I were to use the ability, you can kind of see it basically increases the hitbox from here to like around here-ish. Somewhere around there, I don't really exactly remember, and it just does a little bit more damage. And yeah, that's the whole gold sword ability. Let's go ahead and check out the platinum sword. So the same thing with the other swords. This one turns into a rapier instead of a sword. And so let's go ahead and use the ability number 1. So actually, let's go into the description first. Number 1, so it shoots a bunch of orbs towards the cursor. That's what the first ability does. The 2nd ability spawns a big little domain thing, and it basically just boosts people when they have something of platinum equipped. So you really don't have to worry about that if you have the platinum sword equipped. So let's go ahead and use ability 1 first. I guess I can just use it around here. And so you can see it starts shooting a bunch of like these little orbs. You'll also notice no sound effects and no screen shake either. That's going to come with a different time. I just wanted to get the abilities first, and then I'll come back to those stuff later. And then the other ability, it spawns this big circle, and basically while you're inside of it, you get this boost. So if I leave it, the boost goes away. If I come back in, you can see I get this boost, and it gives me a little bit of extra health as well, and extra health regeneration as well. And yeah, I guess that's not really said in the description, but it does that, so no worries, no worries. It's not just like a simple damage boost. And yeah, so that's kind of the whole ability basically. Let's see. We are now on Mithril Sword. So let's go ahead and equip the Mithril Sword. You can see it's a great sword. And the first ability is to spawn portals. So if I were to press 4 on my keyboard, this is the ability spawn button. So you can see there's this portal. You can't really interact with it though. So the thing is, you gotta spawn 2 of them. So if I come over here and I spawn a 2nd one, you can see now I can interact with it. If I press the interact, you can see it teleports me to the other portal. I can always teleport back as well. If you're wondering like how do you get rid of the portals, you just gotta use the ability again. Or if you unequip your weapon, it also removes the portals. And so yeah, that's just to prevent people from spamming like infinity portals. And so yeah, that's that. The other ability is to spawn a bunch of spears. So if I hold down the other ability button, you can see I'm spawning these spears, and they follow me as well. So if I don't know, they kind of just follow you around, kind of hang out. And if you let go of the button, you can see at 10 I stopped shooting out more spears, and it basically charges them all up to do a little bit more damage. So if you wait until the 10th spear is spawned, you'll do extra damage. And if I let go, boom, and you can see it just shoots all the spears towards wherever your mouse is pointing basically, and those do a little bit of damage, and it's pretty good. We are now on Astrolite. So for this one, I might need a little bit of mana. I can use ability 1 though, so let's go ahead and use ability 1. Basically same thing with the steel sword. It basically boosts the damage of the sword, and it makes it glow a little bit. But for the other ability, I'm going to need a little bit more mana, so I'm going to unuse this ability, and I'm going to just recover my mana right now real quick. Alright, there we go. So now that we got our mana back, let's go ahead and use the other ability. And this one is going to be, if I come to the description, you can see Astrolite Legion places a monolith down, which can be used to summon Astrolite troops. You might be wondering, okay, Astrolite troops, what does that mean? I'll show you right now. So we use the ability, it spawns this big thing that kind of floats around. If I interact with it, you can see it uses a ton of my mana, and it spawns this guy. And I can use it as many times as I have the mana to use. So if I move around, you'll notice something. They follow you. They are your allies basically, and they'll fight for you. They'll basically, any monster that's trying to kill you, they'll help you fight them basically. So this big red button basically spawns enemies over here, and I can spawn a few enemies over there, and let's go ahead and have our guys kind of fight them. So you can see, oh no, I'm getting ganged up on by these hogs. Let's get our Astrolite troops to fight for us. You can see they're pretty weak. But the whole idea behind it was that they kind of serve as a distraction while you do the main DPS. They do damage, of course, but you should be the one that's doing like the main damage basically. And yeah, they're just like little troops that help you. And you see that little white bar below their health? That's basically their cooldown. And once it expires, they'll die. They'll automatically die, no matter how much health they have. So yeah, you can see they're starting to expire right now. And yeah, they basically just both expired just there. And yeah, so you can spawn a bunch of allies there with the Astrolite monolith. And yeah, let's see. So we are now on Orichalcum. So if I go to the description of this one, it summons a Orichalcum Reaver. And that's like a little guy that I'll show you in a second. The other ability is it spawns a domain around you, and that domain basically is just going to give you strength and allies as well, and that's kind of important for this one. So I'm going to spawn a couple enemies here, and let's go ahead and use ability 1. So if I spawn my Astrolite Reaver, you can see this guy, he's kind of following me around. He's an ally. He might look a little bit like a kind of like a dangerous enemy, but no, he's an ally. And if I use my other ability as well, you'll see something. You'll notice this buff that's applying to myself, if he enters the circle as well, which there we go. You can see he's also getting the buff. So while any ally, including things that you've summoned, so like those Astrolite troops as well, if they're inside this buff circle, they'll also get this buff. And yeah, so yeah, this troop will kind of stay with you. You might be wondering also, what happens if I use the ability again? Will it spawn another one? Unfortunately, no, because it might be a little bit OP to have multiple of these guys. So what happens is when you use the ability, it basically just recovers his health and his cooldown. And so you can basically just refresh him whenever you need to. And same thing as usual, he's not balanced, so right now he doesn't do a ton of damage or anything, but I'll probably increase his damage and maybe even his health depending on what type of enemies I include in a future devlog. But yeah, so if you're wondering how to remove him, if you just unequip your weapon, it will destroy him basically. And so yeah, that's kind of how those guys work. But yeah, we are now on Adamantite Greatsword. So if I check the description, you'll see this one's a greatsword as well. It's a pretty big sword. Adamantite domain. Allies gain defense within the domain. And the second ability is support, where it generates 3 orbs which heal allies and damage enemies. And so this, again, with the can be like coupled with the other abilities. Maybe not the Orichalcum sword, because this is a one-handed or two-handed sword, so you can only have it equipped by itself. So, but if you spawn like an Astrolite troops, those guys will stay with you until they expire basically. So you could use the boost right here, and this would apply to all the allies as well. And you can see it's applying this little kind of shiny green effect to me. And this is the defense effect, where I basically just gain a little bit of defense. And the other ability, so if I press 5, you can see it spawns these orbs, and basically they follow you, and these green lines, it's basically healing me right now. But if I were to spawn some enemies in, and I were to run over there, you'll notice something interesting. Instead of healing me, sometimes they might try to attack enemies instead of healing me. So how it works is it's a random choice. The orbs either attack enemies or they heal allies. And so these orbs don't even have to just heal me. They could also heal allies as well, of course. And so yeah, that's the Astrolite Greatsword. Again, you can just use the ability whenever you need to, random stuff like that. And if you unequip the weapon, they stay. So they also don't last a super long time, so that might not be super OP, but you can always like switch to a different ability as well. So like if I was switch to my Orichalcum sword, I spawned in my, I didn't have enough mana to spawn him in, but yeah, you get the whole idea. You can like cycle through weapons and use different abilities. And so let's go ahead and regenerate our mana real quick. And the final ability is on the Dragonite sword. So if I come out here real quick, you can see at the very bottom we've got the Dragonite sword. So if I come into the description, I guess it's a katana, but same thing. The ability one is it spawns Dragonite scales on the sword, and basically what this does is it just increases the range of the sword and the damage. The second ability creates a sun, which shoots a beam towards the cursor, and you guys will kind of see how that works and kind of what it does. So let's spawn some enemies in, and oh, I forgot to equip it. Let's go ahead and equip it, and let's do this. So ability 1, if I use the ability 1, you can see the sword gets a little bit bigger. It doesn't increase the hitbox by a ton, maybe just like from here to like over here-ish. But you can see these little wings kind of follow me. They're just for visuals, just for fun. But yeah, you can see like I can do my attacks. Also, if you're wondering, the animation, you might be wondering, it looks kind of weird. Yeah, I'll fix that later. I was thinking about fixing it, but I'm gonna probably come back to that like very far in the future, because I have a little bit of other stuff I want to get into. But we gotta keep going. So let's spawn some more enemies in, and ability 2, boom. So you can see this giant orb spawns in, and in a couple of moments it's gonna start shooting a big laser. So you can see it's starting to shoot this laser, and it can shoot pretty far. So I can like aim towards these enemies. You might notice it doesn't do a ton of damage, but the reason it doesn't do a ton of damage is because you can shoot it pretty far. So that by itself is super OP, and also it lasts a pretty long time. So I wanted it to not be super OP, so it doesn't do a ton of damage. Of course, I will have to balance everything again as usual. But yeah, you can kind of just use it to shoot through enemies. Of course, you can't shoot through like objects and stuff, but you can like you can aim it around, and it's always nice like that. And I think that's everything. Let's see. But yeah, the future ideas that I have for the game, basically, right now, what I'm going to be getting into is the armor sets. So that's all the weapons. Of course, I never really went into the tier 2 weapons or anything either, but this did take a while, of course. But I'm gonna be working on the armor sets, and I'm gonna do it in a similar way where it's a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 basically. I think it'd be nice to be able to do that, so I'm going to do that, and I'll make another video once I'm done with the armor plugin, and then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna make another video once I'm done with all the armor sets, I would say. And the armor sets will be a lot less functional. It's just gonna be increasing stats or something like that. It's not gonna have like their own abilities and stuff, because that might be a little too complex, I would say. Maybe a little bit too complex. So, but yeah, that's everything. And of course, you can also maybe I'll kind of real quick. Let's see. I might need a couple of these. And then this button just basically gives me a bunch of ores. But yeah, I'm gonna craft up a bunch of Orichalcum. And what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm just gonna craft a secondary one of these. I kind of just want to show this. You can dual wield this. So if you want to, you can have 2 of these guys following you. So you can see two I don't even know, bodyguards that can fight for you basically. So like I can come over here there's this hog over here, and I can kind of just have them have them destroy him before me. They are pretty slow, you'll notice, but they have a ton of health, and so yeah. Let's see. They're pretty weak though. But yeah, you can see they're basically just my personal bodyguards. They kind of hang out with me. And yeah, and I can boost them both as well. So if I spawn the circle, you'll see both of us, all three of us, I mean, are getting the boost. And we can fight enemies even stronger, do more damage, stuff like that. And so yeah, maybe I'll just like kind of go into this environment as well. First of all, actually, maybe let me get some pickaxe real quick as well. I'll just make a mithril pickaxe, I guess. I'm gonna go mining over here. So this is kind of like a test environment, of course, as I was saying earlier. This is gonna be kind of how I want the map to look, but more dense than this, I would say. This isn't like dense enough, I would say. I think it'd be more fun to have it like even more dense, more stuff around the place, maybe like more particles kind of hanging out. You can see there's hogs around the place as well. And yeah, you can like this would be like a little area where you can mine. Kind of come over here. Of course, no sound effects. I'll have to fix that later on. And yeah, that'll be a whole process by itself. Maybe I'll make a whole video for the sound effects stuff as well. And of course, I'm gonna add custom music later on as well. But for now, it's just like a simple area. You can mine, you can just hang out. I think it'd be fun to have like a environmental music. So like if you enter the mining area, it has like a different type of music. That'd be pretty fun. And of course, you can unequip your thing. You can equip a weapon. Boom. Let's take this guy out. And so yeah, that's the whole basically update. I don't even know what to call this, devlog, I guess, of what I've been working on. I'm going to be working on the armor sets, of course. After that, it's going to be the leveling up systems, leveling up, XP, different tiers and stuff. And after that, I think it's going to be the, let's see, character creator. I'm going to make a whole pretty in-depth character creator, I would say. It's going to be fun, maybe like custom different types of hair parts. And that's going to take a while too, because I wanna custom model all my hair parts. So it's going to take a while, but honestly, at this point, like, I think I should be able to do it. It shouldn't take super long. And of course, after the armor sets, I should have a lot more experience with 3D modeling, so hair shouldn't be super hard to do. I would hope so. But yeah, that's everything that I've been up to. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.